Hey folks, so we've got the roadmap spring to summer that Gaijin posted earlier today. We've known this was coming for a little while, and they finally got it out to us. This video is going to be kind of a talking head hot take, but without the head down in the corner. So feel free to maybe put this on 1.5 speed playback and Alt-Tab into the game or something. Before I really get rolling, I kind of want to put my thoughts and my hot take here into a little bit of context for you guys. I generally try to be a pretty reasonable person. There are some things on this roadmap that I like. There are some things on this roadmap I don't care about. There are some things on this roadmap I think are kind of dumb. There are a lot of things I would like to see that are not on this roadmap. That doesn't mean the whole thing is good or bad. This whole roadmap isn't, a divine gift from the snail, and it's going to fix all the problems in the game just because there's a couple of things on here I've wanted to see for a long time. There are also a lot of issues that, in my opinion, exist in the game that are not addressed by anything on this roadmap. That doesn't mean the whole thing is trash and it's a big piece of toilet paper. It just means that some of this is good, some of it's maybe not good, and there's a bunch of stuff that's not on it. So I'm going to try and be as realistic as I possibly can, and I'm going to try not to draw any large, overarching sort of conclusions here. I'm going to go through the individual bullet points for this entire first major update of 2024 that we have listed in gold. These are the things that are coming up sort of in the immediate short term. And I'm not going to go over every individual bullet point that's coming later in the year, but there are a handful of them I'm going to sort of pick out and discuss individually. Okay, so the very first thing we get is a fuel slider. And apologies if my voice is a little raspy. I've been talking a lot today. This is my third video I'm recording today. This is a big one, I think. The community's been asking for fuel sliders for a long time. I've seen posts on Reddit about it going back years. I've seen posts on the forums. I know I've asked the snail for it myself like half a dozen times through various communication channels. And by the way, I'm not trying to take credit for anything. It's going to be a really big deal. There are a lot of aircraft where the fuel presets are either not enough or way too much with nothing in between. So I think having the fuel sliders is going to be a really good solution to a long-standing issue with the game. So kudos on this one. Next up is solving the issue with duplicated stock air-to-air missiles in the weapons selector. Okay, so a lot of Gaijin's English language stuff is not always phrased especially well or translated naturally, I guess might be the way to say it. What this is talking about, if it's not obvious, is how on a lot of top-tier aircraft that come with a pair of stock missiles, like, for example, the F-16 gets a pair of tipwinders stock. If you take additional sidewinders, you don't get, on your weapon selection, AIM-9L times 4. You get AIM-9L times 2, and then a separate weapon listing for AIM-9L times 2. And if you have, 4 sidewinders and 2 bombs, you have to cycle through 2 sidewinders, 2 sidewinders, 2 bombs, instead of 4 sidewinders, 2 bombs. I don't personally care too much about that. That one's never really bothered me. I know that a lot of other people have been really upset by that and complained pretty bad about the way that that's been implemented. So even though I might not care, I think the community's going to be pretty happy with that particular change. So kudos on that at least. Improving the synchronization of object destruction on maps. I gotta tell you, I'm not 100% sure what this is talking about. Is there some long-standing problem with, buildings destroyed on ground battle maps not collapsing at the same time for everyone looking at it? This one, to me, just kind of reads like they're going to feed the server hamsters a little bit better. Maybe, put some more protein in the hamster diet. Not really too sure. Okay, minimap enemy aircraft detection zones near aircraft respawn points in ground realistic battles. I really hope that's going to include helicopter spawns, not just fixed-wing aircraft spawns. That said, I'm generally a fan of anything that reduces spawn camping. It seems to me from reading this that the point is to stop people from spawn camping the aircraft spawn points in ground RB the same way that they spawn camp the aircraft spawn points in like air arcade battles, where that's a major problem and has been forever. So I'm generally happy about anything that reduces the viability of spawn camping. I just hope that this doesn't end up being an unintended buff to the Pantsir S1 by like reducing the places you can try and hide from it. So we'll see. Next, we have new tutorial missions for guided weapons. And they've got a bunch that they list there. They're going to have like the in-game mission that shows you how to drop a laser guided bomb. Yeah, that's fine. My tutorial guides are still going to be better than the way Gaijin explains it, just based on past experience. But for maybe folks who aren't on YouTube, don't watch my channel, don't ever search for community help, maybe that'll be something good. Whatever, don't really care about that one. Next, improving replenishment mechanics and reducing the maximum replenishment time for ground vehicles on capture points. I'm assuming that's talking about ammo and crew. I've got kind of mixed feelings about this one. Yes, it is annoying with some vehicles that, like, when you're on a capture point, you've got to wait, 6 hours to reload your ammo or to replace a dead crew member. Improving that and reducing that wait is a good thing. However, I'm worried that if they make it too short, that it will artificially give a pretty significant buff to some of the mid and lower tier self-propelled artillery vehicles that have a very low maximum ammo capacity on the vehicle itself. Maybe it's going to be faster or slower for each vehicle, like as a vehicle attribute, rather than being the same across the board. I don't know. I kind of want to see how that one gets implemented. Next is an interface item. Advanced settings for destroyed vehicles in the kill feed. And they put in parentheses here, enabling and disabling the kill feed, displaying nicknames, squadron names, and weapon types. I don't really have a strong opinion about this. Maybe, I don't recall having seen a lot of people complaining about the format of the kill feed, like down in the bottom right corner. But I guess if you want to disable it entirely for whatever reason, this is going to let you do that. Or if you don't want to see squadron names of players, you can disable that. That's fine. I hope this doesn't disable the streamer privacy mode setting that they have. If you get killed by someone who, is using the privacy settings on their name. But other than that, I don't really have a big opinion about this. Now, next is a couple of social features. Integration of the Steam friends list into the game client. Oh my goodness, I hope they don't screw this up. This is one that I think has some potential for, don't cross the streams kind of problems, where you're going to find someone with a Steam name that conflicts with somebody else's in-game name, that problems like that. I really want to see how they're going to implement that before I kind of have any opinion about it. I don't run Warthunder off Steam myself. I use the standalone game installer. But if you're a Steam user and you've been sort of clamoring for synchronization of your Steam friends list and your in-game Warthunder friends list so that, you can find your buddies a little easier, maybe this will be something good for you. We'll see. This one is interesting. Wishlist functionality in-game and the ability to gift friends through the wishlist. Okay, that sounds great, right? But wishlist what? Wishlist premium vehicles that are purchasable through GEs? Wishlist tech tree vehicles that you're having a hard time unlocking? Wishlist marketplace vehicles that, you'd have to purchase with Gaijin coins? Like, what are we talking about here? I think the ability to gift things to your buddies, generally speaking, is good. But I want to see what they're allowing us to put on the wish list. That seems like a kind of important detail, and they haven't mentioned it here. So that's what's in the next update coming they have listed the first major update of 2024. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the individual line items coming later in the year, but there are a couple of things I want to pick specifically and talk about. So one of the changes coming later in the year is using flares and chaff separately. Like, they're going to change the countermeasures keybinds, one for flares, one for chaff. That is very good. It's about damn time. Everyone's been asking for that for forever, for years. So that's going to be a very positive change. I can't wait. Now, this next one is very, very important. This is, in my opinion, this is one of the biggest things on this whole roadmap. Separate battle ratings for different modes. For example, and this is what it says on the roadmap if you're alt-tabbed and you're not looking at it. For example, different battle ratings for some ground attack aircraft in air realistic battles and ground realistic battles. About fricking time. People have been complaining about this forever. I've been complaining about it. Reddit's been complaining about it. Forums have been complaining about it. This is the reason why a lot of ground attack aircraft are so completely non-viable in air battles, like the A7s in the American tech tree. Struggle so bad in the air battles meta because Gaijin has balanced them in terms of BR based on their impressive air-to-ground guided weapons inventory and the fact that they can do incredibly strong as close air support. But they're subsonic aircraft that don't maneuver very well and don't have, a really strong air combat capability. And so they're in a position in the air battles matchmaker where they just get frickin' destroyed. And Gaijin has said a couple of times that fixing this was like impossible and they could never do it without like rewriting the entire game source code from scratch. Well, here it is. So they found a way. I am extremely happy about this. This is going to allow, in my opinion, an enormous number of aircraft to get a desperately needed rebalance pass. Especially some of those ground attack aircraft that have all aspect air-to-air missiles, and for some reason they're at BR-10. Maybe we'll see them go up in BR in air battles, even if they're in the same place in ground battles. I don't know. I'm very excited about that. I just hope they don't screw it up in terms of what the actual battle ratings end up being for the different aircraft. Now, this next one is kind of important. It's an economic change. The research bonuses for new nations, that's left over from the old roadmap. It's like the one thing that they haven't implemented yet. And I'm guessing they're having some trouble settling on the math on what that's going to look like. But I'm glad it's coming. I'm glad they haven't given up on it because it's going to be a really big quality of life. You know, if you get to rank 8 with the German air tree and you want to switch and start researching France, I think it'll be nice to give you a little bit of a bonus to like maybe reflect the fact that you're already an experienced player. So that'll be good to see, I think. Now this next one's also kind of a big deal. Addition of a timer to the aircraft heads-up display that counts down the time until the fired ammunition hits the target. They have this already right now for helicopters, where like if you fire a Hellfire missile out of an Apache at something on the ground, you get a little countdown, showing you how long it's going to take for your missile to hit. That's an extremely useful feature for a number of reasons. And it looks like they're finally going to add that to other missiles. You know, like if you fire off an air-to-air missile at a target, you're going to get a countdown, that shows you how long it's going to take for the missile to impact. That'll be really useful, especially at long range. However, it has the potential to maybe get a little weird if you're firing against a maneuvering target that turns into you or turns away from you, or if you've got multiple missiles outbound at different targets and things like that. But generally speaking, I'm enthusiastic about that change, even though it means I'll have to redo both of my tutorials on guided weapons. This one's coming later, and I'm kind of happy to see it. Notification of when a reported player was banned without specifying their username. I'm really happy about that. I don't report players very often. Like if I report someone, it's got to be really flagrant. You know, like they're going around and I recognize their name over like 2 or 3 matches, team killing all their buddies and laughing about it. You know, I'll report them for that. Really obvious cheats in ground battles. You know, somebody shoots you with like a low caliber machine gun through a solid building and 2 dead tanks, and it just happens to hit your like gunner's visibility window just right and like ricochet around like the JFK magic bullet inside your tank and kill your whole crew. Like really obvious like cheats in ground battles like that. I will report people for that. But I think, because Gaijin has a PR problem where people think that reports don't ever lead to any actual punishment, having this notification is going to be a good thing. So the last one I'm going to mention here is coming out really late, and I think it's going to be a much bigger deal than might immediately be obvious. The ability to recycle inventory items that are not needed into random items of other types, and they give in parenthesis orders, wagers, boosters, etc. Consumable stuff. That's huge. I think that not everybody uses everything. I mean, obviously, right? And the more you play the game, the more of these you get, and you're going to stockpile consumables that you're never going to use. It's a waste. And a few of you have commented, like in videos where I've shown my tech trees and like I've clicked in the corner for a minute to like click on a booster or something. A few of you have commented that I'm personally, Tim's Variety, I'm sitting on hundreds of unused orders, wagers, and backups that have piled up over my 10 years of playing the game because I just don't use them. I use boosters all the time, but all those other ones, I just don't use them. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with them. Maybe you use them and you find that using, those ground attack wagers is like a really good way to grind Silver Lions. It's just not something that I do. So being able to convert all of those unused consumables into other stuff like boosters or like maybe some lower tier backups that I am going to use, that's going to be a really big quality of life thing. And I never thought of this. I'm guessing that this one probably came from like the community feedback they solicited. But I think it'll be a really good positive change for the better. But anyway, that's basically my hot take on the community roadmap here. There are a lot of things on the list that I don't care about. There are some things on here I think are kind of dumb. I didn't really go into. I tried to focus on the things that I think are going to be interesting or really positive. But, again, all of this is subject to change. So half of this might get scrapped. We might see 20 new things added to it this time next month. So we'll see what we get. And I hope they don't screw it up. As always, thanks for watching.